kilometer marker 0 for Ha Giang. You, the traveler, are here for one reason, and one reason only, and that's to do the Ha Giang Loop. But what if you're stuck here for some time before or after your tour? And there's any number of reasons why. You're in a holding pattern because you're waiting for the weather to clear, you're waiting for a group to form, or you just need some time to rest or do work on the before or after of your journey. So this riverfront park that has the 0 kilometer marker across the main highway is the main town square. Ha Giang is a sleepy little town that, for all intents and purposes, is based on the tourism of the loop. But even here in the riverfront park, this sign, it's kind of hard to see. It's dirty, it's like sun bleached out, but it has some points up in the hills and in the surrounding valleys right around town where you could rent a motorbike and do some sightseeing of the temples, rice terraces. Right here in the riverfront park, we have an ice cream shop, a coffee shop, another coffee shop where you can sit out and watch the water go by. This is the Ha Giang bus station. All of the sleeper buses arrive here. And for the first time, here's the station itself. Restrooms you can use, but when you get off the bus, this is a novel experience. You don't get mob rushed by all the people trying to get taxi. Anytime you get off one of those sleeper buses, you should be then loading onto a smaller bus that, included in your bus fare, the smaller bus then takes you to your accommodations. I do not know what the app is to reserve these, but just know that is their hotline telephone number, 1-900-2088. It says that on all of them. They are metered taxis. They're very professional drivers. Okay, so that's the bus station. When you get here, you're arriving at the very south end of town. And maybe the reason why there's no, the attack of the taxi drivers is because it's actually a controlled entry point. So it's super peaceful when you get off the bus. So refreshing, because you're exhausted when you get here from having driven all those winding mountain roads. We're out front on the main street, and these guys on the motorbikes are always hanging out, so I'm pretty sure they are the, if you need a motorbike ride for some reason. This road right here is coming in from the south, and that road travels northbound through Ha Giang town. That is the main highway. Lots of big bus traffic, lots of big truck traffic. This is a little bit of a node, a hub, where there are several hotels, okay? So there's probably like a half a dozen small hotels back in this neighborhood here. And back there are some restaurants, there's several coffee shops, and it has a pretty quiet feel to it. But if you come up here, no more than a 5-minute walk from those hotels, a handful of very local restaurants to choose from. Not a ton, but you won't starve. And there are several markets back there that you can get your water, your toiletries, your snack foods for whatever follow-on journey you're taking. So that's this very southern end of town. So we just walked from the very south tip of town, not very far down the road, traveling north on the main highway. And it looks like this pretty much the whole way. There's a lot of businesses dealing in motorbike repairs and small local restaurants, but there's no real hub of a bunch of food activity. We'll get to that later. So I'm only gonna show you a couple examples of tour pricing because only a couple places have straightforward enough conversations and strong enough English that you don't feel like you're sitting down for a timeshare sales pitch. So this is Bull Motorbikes and Tours. They're the one agency that had a price posted on the door. I appreciate the transparency, but not everything is what it seems. I don't know about the 2-day, 1-night, but the 3-day and the 4-day are the same tour. You just travel at a more leisurely pace where you get to stop for longer when you want to with the group at the waterfalls, swimming holes, photo ops. And it's not as It sounds like it's just a very hurried pace on the 3-day trip. To go 4 days, 3 nights, including the Easy Rider, including all your food, water, sleeping in a dormitory bunk situation, 4,300,000 dong. If you upgrade those 3 nights into a private room, it's an extra 200,000 dong per night, bringing you to a total of 4,900,000 dong. I'm not advocating for them, except that I appreciate that the sign just being posted. We are still traveling north, approaching the first of 3 major bridges that go across the river to another half of town. As afternoon turns into evening, this starts coming out. The pork, barbecued pork, your duck, fish. Oh man, what do we got? Pork belly and sausage. Delicious. So it starts lining the sides of the streets as you get into the evening. The duck just dripping with the grease. Pork belly. And then you even get the smaller barbecue operations. So there's food. Make no mistake, there is food. There are banh mi sandwich shops also scattered throughout. There's not that many of them, but they're here. And here we are at the first bridge that goes across the river. There's a couple Western restaurants. You can get your pasta, your pizza. I mean, the local food is better, to be honest. This is the main road on the east side of the river. The first road east of the river that you'll see on the map. As you can see, it's still pretty busy. There's still quite a bit of noise. Now you would think by the look of this that there's going to be a really high density of restaurants and coffee shops, but that's not the case. It's pretty sporadic no matter where you are in town. And am I cherry picking? Yes. Am I advertising? No. But the Donkey Hostel was one of the only other places that just gave me a really straightforward answer. 4 days, 3 nights, Easy Rider, 4,100,000 dong. That includes insurance, food, water, sleeping in a dormitory bunk. How much extra for private room? So if you're traveling in a couple, same price, but you can stay in a private room. But what if I'm traveling alone, just me, just one, but I want private room? For the whole trip, 4,200,000. I am not staying here, but I really appreciated how transparent they have been with me on the pricing as well. So we are still on the east side of Ha Giang town, traveling north. And all throughout this eastern half of town, it's worth pointing out that it goes back 3 or 4 blocks until it butts up against the mountainside. And there are homestays, hostels, small hotels, lodging options spotted throughout back there. The noise from traffic is going to be much, much less back there against the hillside. And any one of those places you're staying has, within reasonable walking distance, food, hot food, and at most a few blocks walk to the markets, to all this activity you see here. So we're at the middle bridge, and we're gonna cross back over to the main highway. And the most curious thing you see is you're crossing the bridge up and down the riverbanks, planting, farming, harvesting. It's up on the banks on both sides all the way. It's very cool to see. So there's 3 or 4 coffee shops on this side and 3 coffee shops on that other side. We are now at the 3rd bridge across the river, the northernmost bridge. Just to give you an idea, tons of walkable space on both banks of the river. I have no idea how far it all goes, but I'll give you a view of the other side. All three of these bridges are pedestrian walkable on both sides. So here there's like a town square, and all of this gets lit up at night, like every town in Vietnam. It is gorgeous to walk around in the evening time, and it's very warm and humid right now, so it cools off a little bit at night. It's so nice coming out a little bit after dusk. And there's just planting. There's just agriculture everywhere. All right, so if we keep going, we're almost at the north edge of town. If we take a left here, that gets us to the old market. Let's go take a look safely crossing and see if they have any gear. Because if I show up in only t-shirts and shorts and that weather turns for the worse, ooh, that's gonna be a rough ride. So we're just past the third bridge northbound on the east side of the river. And as you head up to the north edge of town is the market. On your way, we've got the live produce section, and this is my favorite thing. There's gotta be at least a half a dozen of these scattered throughout town. You get the bag of 2 small pineapples. How much? Shouldn't be paying any more than 30 or 40,000 dong. 35,000 dong. So take note of how they cut these pineapples. This is a great lesson for North Americans to give it the swirl, the spiral, get those little pits out of it. And so if I buy the bag, she'll cut it up into little bite-sized pieces, put it right back into the bag. So how about 30,000 dong. I'm gonna make a deal. So I did the bargaining just for sport, because they started out with 40 on me first pass, then 35 when I finally asked, and just for fun, I said 30 and then walked away, and she agreed to it. So she's cutting it up, and it's so fresh. It's so good. Past all the road work and produce stands, we're gonna get to the market. So we're kind of on the north edge of town right now. Well, let's take a look inside, see what kind of gear they have to offer us. Well, don't bother coming up to the 3rd floor of the market. So taking a look down, you will find some clothing. It's like, the knockoff, and shoes, but none of it is outdoor gear. So on the 1st floor, close to the entrance, we've got some people selling smaller bags, right? There's the main road. More bags. But there's no performance clothing here, which is really surprising. This is the first time that I've found this. So the takeaway is wherever you're at before here, watch my other videos about Sapa, Hanoi, Ninh Bình, and even Cat Ba Island. If it's cold, they don't have the gear here. So gear up before you get here. That's the takeaway. So here in the main town square, you can get some exercise on the exercise equipment. And there's more of that equipment on the backside of the statue. On the weekends, at night, they close this road down so that it's only pedestrians, and there's hardly any visitors, tourists here. It's mostly the local families that come out, and they're grilling the meats, selling the cut up fruit. And if I was gonna point out a place where there is any kind of a high density of food options, hot food, it would be just in this first stretch here where there's a half a dozen shops selling pho noodles and fried rice and variations of that. And then down this main road that loops around the park, you have several ice cream shops, coffee shops, and then back in the neighborhoods behind the government buildings are a handful of hotel options and more food options. So this sort of immediate area might be the closest thing you have, like an aggregated set of food and coffee and ice cream. In the evening time, the pickleball courts. I have never seen so many pickleball courts as I have in this town. It's like all of the grown-ups, they just take their hour and they're all getting some exercise, knocking the ball around. It's really cool to see. Again, I'm very careful about the price I pay. I'm a thrifty individual, but I've managed to stay in pretty nice rooms for $14 US to $16 US, giving me a comfortable queen size bed, private bathroom. So I'm in the northwest corner of town, and there's a temple back there, very quiet, lit up very well at night. And there's street market activity. So if you are looking for some fresh produce, not much traffic coming through here, and there's, again, no gear to speak of, no performance clothing, but if you do need things like shorts, t-shirts, they do have them here, dried and sundry goods. And if you're in the market for a chicken or a duck, this is your spot, you know? So a little more of this street market, a little more clothing. No gear. So this has been a short, quick video about the town of Ha Giang. Did you know you're not gonna find the thrills here in town, but if you need a nice, peaceful, sleepy retreat from all the adventuring, all of the road running, I've enjoyed hanging out here, drinking coffee, eating some fresh fruit. I will see you in the next town.